Welcome back. For more than 2 decades, John Fury has been the head football coach at Niskayuna High School. And for more than 2 decades, he's been the head baseball coach at Niskayuna High School. And under Fury's leadership, Andre Davis blossomed into a star wide receiver who would go on to catch 21 touchdowns in the NFL. And Garrett Whitley's just now starting his career in the Tampa Bay Rays organization. And now, a couple of weeks into his 21st season with the Silver Warriors is Coach John Fury. Coach, thanks for being here tonight.
Great to be here, Kelly. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Coming off a big win against South High last week. Let's start right there. The program went through a winless season last year. I can't imagine how difficult that must have been for you and the guys, but therefore how elated you must have been at the end of last week's game.
Yeah. You know, you always want to act like you've been there before, but at the end of the game, there was a dog pile in the middle field. Like, guys, come on. You know, get over on the sideline here. But it was great. They're so happy. And, you know, I have a core group of guys who have just been so loyal to the program. You know, we had 18 guys who were juniors last year, and the vast majority of them stuck with me. And even inside that group, there's another group of kids who were there every day, and it was just so good to see those guys. And those guys, one by one, came to me and said, "Coach, it's awesome. It's great." So it was really good. It was great.
And I got to imagine practice the next day or 2 days later, probably they were more energized. Let's go out and do that again. We want to keep feeling this.
Oh yeah. There, you know, there's energy in practice on Monday, and our captains, they jumped up and they got in front of the group and they really started things off on Monday. So it was a real positive situation, as you would expect.
And how difficult was it going through last year, not getting that victory and knowing that you've got these guys that are out here working just as hard as players at any other program in the Capital Region, but they don't get to feel that win?
Yeah, it was tough, and really the toughest part last year is I was really concerned a lot of times about the health and well-being of the kids. You know, I mean, we were really outmanned in a bad way, and so I was very concerned. And so you go into a game just hoping, hey, let's walk away from this healthy, and that's just it's not how you want to play.
Right.
And so anyway, it was good to see the win, and it was a great thing for those guys.
Has it been harder recently, maybe the past few years, to get as many guys to come out and play football that you need to compete at the highest level?
Yeah, the impacts of so many things out there. In our school, we have so many great sports and stuff like that, and kids really want to focus in on their efforts on one sport, and that's a huge challenge. We were talking earlier, and I said there was 5 kids last year who were 3-letter sports athletes. You know, so and football is the easier one to get away from. It's the one that the parents say, so you don't want to play football? That's fine with me. You know, maybe you won't get hurt. You know, the whole concussion deal. You know. It's really tough, but you know, the thing that people forget is that all those things going on, football is that sport really that pulls you together. It's that family sport. It's that sport where you really grow up. You know, and that's what's important. I mean, I've seen so many guys come through and come back and say, "Coach, it was a great experience. Thank you so much. You know, I came in a kid and I left a man," and that's what football is about so much. And that's what we got to get out there too, to other people and to get our kids in the program.
And you can certainly see it from both ways. Especially, what do you tell an athlete, a student athlete that comes to you and says, "Coach, you know, I've got a future playing lacrosse. I may not be the best football player. I can contribute to your team, but I could get a Division I scholarship if I just focus on lacrosse." You're probably torn on the advice you offer.
Yeah, you know, it is to a degree, but you know, hey, you're a kid. You know, I know what you can have to the future. That's the future. Live in the now.
Yeah.
You know, enjoy it, man. These are the years. You know, enjoy these years.
And you seem to be enjoying it because you're still doing it after some 3 decades of coaching, 21 at Niskayuna.
Yeah, I love it, and I love you know what really drives is the kids. You know, the kids who are there day in and day out, and they're selling their soul to your program. That's what keeps you going. That's what energizes to see those kids day in and day out back there working, and that's what energizes you, and that's what keeps you going.
You're working just as hard as they are. You're in the weight room every day?
Yeah, I am. I'm in there all the time. It seems like that, helping those guys, trying to get a little lift in myself. But it's, yeah, and I enjoy, though, like I say, I enjoy being around those guys. And those guys who are in the weight room kids, those guys who are there day in and day out, those are the kids who are really energized. Those are the kids who are dedicated and who really keep you going.
At the risk of embarrassing you here, what are you benching these days?
I'm getting 225.
225? Is that all?
Yeah. I'm keeping it going a little bit.
Well, Coach, I know that a lot of teams will have their game day routine or their game day rituals, and there's one that Niskayuna has that you're very much a part of that's special. And for more on that, we turn to Brittany Devane.
Thanks, Kelly. Niskayuna Football carries on a tradition that's been in place since the early 2000s. Before every home game, the Silver Warriors tap a plaque that sits by the flagpole near the field. That memorial is in honor of former player Mark Politalo, who passed away in the spring of his junior year in 1999. In fact, the pregame tradition has become so important to the team, they'll even pay a visit before boarding the bus for away games. Now, it's more than a memorial. It's a symbol of Silver Warriors football.
I've never felt anything like I feel when I come out and I hit the flagpole.
It represents everything that I've ever really worked for, like my family. I'm playing for people. I'm playing for my grandpa. He's been fighting Alzheimer's, and he used to love the game. Now he won't even really know what a football is. I play for my cousin who recently passed away. I play for my brother. I play for all the people that came through this community that would love to put these pads back on. And it's kind of it's an emotional time here at the flagpole. Like, as you can see, it's a lot like you find why you're here.
My dad last year passed away the day before double started, and we had probably 25 guys on the team, and all 25 guys came to my father's wake. The first day, the first game that I came out here, and I bowed my head, I could feel him with me. I had a 30-yard catch from Jake, and I just looked up at the sky, and it was almost like I could see a cloud, and I just knew it was him, and it was amazing.
When you stop playing a game for yourself, you start playing for others, you can find a passion deep down inside you, and that's kind of what this flagpole is all about.
I don't care what the score is. I didn't care that we went 0-8. I've made some of my best friends on this team in just 2 years, and it's something that I would never trade for the world.
Mark loved this game. He loved the people around him, and for the people that are younger, the people that are coming through this program, for them to get this, for them to be able to understand what this game is about, I feel like even though he didn't live a long life, he lived a life that had meaning to it, and that meaning's still going on now, and I think it'll live through this program forever.
I do just want to take a second and thank Jake and Kyle for sharing their stories with us. I know that takes a lot of bravery to talk about things like that on television like this, but I certainly enjoyed hearing it. It's times like these we realize that sports are sometimes a little bit more than what happens on the field. Now, if you're looking for the Silver Warriors before tomorrow night's home game against Mahonison, check by the flagpole. Kelly and Coach Fury, back to you.
Thanks, Brittany. Some very poignant sound from your players, and what does that ritual mean to you?
It's a really important ritual in our program. We go to the flagpole before the game, and we talk about Mark Politalo, and I talk about Mark before the season. Mark was a young man who played football for us, and he wrestled, and in the spring of his junior year, he passed away over spring break. And he had great friends because that's the type of kid he was. He just attracted kids to him. And so they went out and bought the flagpole. And what we discussed at the flagpole, or what I've talked to our kids about, is, hey, Mark never got the opportunity to play his senior season. You leave it all here. You take what Mark didn't get. And we also talk about, getting in contact with those people who are important to you, maybe who you are, no longer with us. And it's a good ritual for us. So.
Andre Davis was probably right around Mark's year.
Andre was a little bit before Mark, yeah, actually, yeah.
And then went on to Virginia Tech, and of course had a great career in the NFL. And we look back at some Andre Davis highlights. What do you think back at looking the former Cleveland Brown, Houston Texan?
Yeah, he could help us out a bit. Yeah, Andre was a great story. He came out for football for the first time as an 11th grader. Had a great couple seasons, and just grew and grew and grew each day, and an outstanding person. I've had two pro athletes, and they're from outstanding families and outstanding people, so we're lucky.
And at what point did you think, I might be coaching somebody who could end up in a Cleveland Browns uniform someday?
Yeah, it came really in the second half of his senior season, because like I say, you got to get accustomed to the field and stuff like that, and the game, and he did, and finally all of a sudden in that second half of the senior season, he was just doing amazing stuff, just like leaving people in the dust and just clobbering people too on defense.
And you mentioned the two great professional athletes, one now just starting his career, and that's Garrett Whitley, who you coached when he was a baseball player not that long ago, just earlier this spring with Niskayuna. What was it like being down at the draft earlier this year when you heard his name called to the first round?
That was a thrill. It was the greatest time. There was professional baseball players all around, rubbing elbows right there with him. It was a thrill, but the biggest thrill was to see him down there, and to see his great accomplishment, and his family getting the payoff for his hard work. And the hard work in baseball is one thing, but his hard work as a person and persevering. He's a great kid and a great family.
And would look great in shoulder pads too, right?
Yeah. Oh, he would look great in shoulder pads. He could take it around then.
And then finally, you've got Mahonison at home tomorrow night, and the head coach of Mahonison used to be on your staff.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
He was with us last year. We've had some brief communications, but not much. I think it'll be all business tomorrow night, but we're looking forward to playing them. We got a lot of respect for them. They're doing a nice job with that program, and we're looking forward to a great game tomorrow night.
Coach John Fury and the Niskayuna Silver Warriors taking on Mahonison tomorrow night. We'll have the highlights on the Edge tomorrow night. But later on in this show, why would a minor league baseball team sign a 50-year-old player? That's coming up next on the Edge.